What is up, everybody? Star Wars Dad back for another video. Today we're going to be continuing to look at another really strong control deck and kind of compare it to the Iden Blue deck that we just did, and then we will follow that up with a video afterwards about just kind of how to beat control decks and, you know, why certain decks do really well, and if you're playing against a lot of control, which decks to play, or what types of decks to play. And I'll kind of explain how to use those decks correctly to beat control. But this deck is really cool. I really liked this deck from set 1. Obviously, you know, had to adjust to set 2, and you know, decks like this, it takes a little bit of time to develop them when there's new cards released, because you want to, you know, play cards that make sense for things that you're going to be seeing a lot. As there's, you know, you have a lot of different options with these colors of cards that can be effective. Like, you know, you could have played No Good to Me Dead or Waylay in here. But this particular version is a little more focused on just straight up removal and using your units as removal. And then preventing certain units from attacking. And then blowing up the board and getting to a point where you can use Snoke and Avenger to close the game out. Is kind of, in general, what you're doing with this list. You know, obviously there's some bumps in the road when you're making a deck like this. It's a, you know, you got to kind of tweak it to your own play style. There's different ways to play this deck. This isn't necessarily the only way. I've seen lists that have like Long Pike and Tobias. Like I said, you could play No Good to Me Dead or Waylay, which I believe were in my original list from set 1, which are still very strong cards still. But I opted kind of a different route, and I like where it's at. It feels very strong. So, you know, the idea here is to benefit from Boba's ability to squeeze in a lot of these one resource cards. You know, a lot of times on turn 1 you play Cloud Rider into Greedo, or even just double down on like Enticing Reward and Top Target on a unit that's out there, and then plan to remove it on turn 2. So playing 3 Greedo, then we're playing 3 Top Target as a just, I think in any blue deck right now, for the most part, you need to either have 3 Top Target in the sideboard or in the main board. I usually tend to make my main board decks reflect playing against aggro, because I want to be able to win game 1 when I'm playing control decks. I think that's extremely important to win game 1, because your matchups tend to last a little longer, and if you lose game 1, it's incredibly hard to win the next 2 matchups because of how long it takes to win game 1. So that's just kind of my thinking. But also aggro can be really difficult for a control deck, so, you know, gotta be prepared for it. 3 Enticing Reward. This card is really sweet. It's really great in here for a lot of reasons. Like, it kind of just, you know, you want to play it on a unique unit so that you can set up your next, you know, draw 2 cards essentially for 1 resource, and a lot of times you can do that on the same turn that you play it, which is awesome. So you get to search the top 10 cards that from your deck for 2 non-unit cards, so you're looking for like a multitude of removals depending on what you already have in your hand. And this goes great alongside El Docteur, who is just drawing us cards every turn as long as he's alive. And so we're really just getting a big hand size and gaining card advantage, and really finding the pieces that we need to survive the matchup, specifically against the more aggro decks, or even mid-range decks, you know, and even control decks. Depends on what kind of control. Obviously, if they're not playing a lot of units, then Enticing Reward is not as effective, but Dr. Pershing is still very effective. And the great thing about Enticing Reward, of course, is that it costs 1 resource, so we can squeeze it in after we remove something with Boba's ability. And it fits really nicely in here, and just helps to... a lot of times I end up using it like in a situation where my hand has been either pillaged, or like maybe I had to use a few cards to deal with the board state, and I get down to like 1 or 2 cards, and it's just a really nice way to like replenish my hand. It's also just great to like put it on a unit and just kind of deal with it later, and then blow up the board and just get card advantage. Then we're playing just 1 copy of Confiscate in the main and 1 in the side, just to kind of deal with like Dark Saber decks. mainly Sabine green, just to have an answer. I opted to put the second copy in the sideboard so I could have 3 Dr. Pershing in the main board. I just felt like Dr. Pershing really adds to the consistency of what this deck wants to do, and it just feels really, really good in here. 3 Entrenched and the 3 Frozen Carbonite, kind of doing similar things. Frozen Carbonite is also a great answer for Darksaber decks. Once they play the Darksaber, or if they play a Poe or Wrecker, or big units in general in other decks, it's a great card. And then Entrenched is just great too. We typically want to use it on space units. Occasionally I'll use it on a leader, and just wait to flip Boba after a board wipe. The 3 Dr. Pershing really has been like incredible. When I first started playing this deck, again, just like the Iden Blue deck, I didn't have that card in here. But just from my experience with playing it in Iden Blue and how good it felt, I decided to add it in. And once I did, the deck just felt even better. Again, like, and I talked about this in the Iden Blue video, but the action ability allows you to kind of pace yourself when you're playing a heavy removal deck, so that your opponent has to be the one to make a choice first, which is what you want, because you want to be able just to react to what they do. Depending on what they do is what you decide to play, whether it's an Entrenched or a Carbonite or a Power of the Dark Side or a Takedown, or, it depends on what they play. So it gives us the ability to not only gain card advantage, get another card to look at, and essentially look at 3 cards a turn, and that's without the enticing reward, of course, and then we can kind of delay our ability to react. So it just gives us a little more of that. And then once they play a unit, like if we don't have the right removal or the right, depending on what's going on, then we can just claim the initiative and try again next turn, or just play a better removal to begin the turn. So there's you'll see in the gameplay kind of what I'm talking about, but that card's just been really amazing. Two copies of Bazine. Bazine is obviously just a very good tempo card. It's one of those cards that, against like aggro decks, it's a good turn 1 play, but middle of the game, it's not really what I want. I want more removal, because sometimes it can backfire and give them a better card if I decide to discard, and otherwise it's just a 1/3. Later in the game, I think it's fine when you smuggle it out as you're kind of taking over the game. It's just an additional 1 damage to get in for, and also just kind of figure out what the best card in their hand is. But typically, it's, later in the game, I'm not really looking for it or anything. I mean, you can smuggle it for 4, so. But definitely, it's like a great turn 1 play. It's definitely very good against mid-range and control decks. That's where it really shines, is like, tempoing them out. Typically, as they have more expensive things that they want to play, so if we can kind of fill their hand with expensive units early, and then later on in the game we might even use it as well to try to disrupt their game plan or get rid of the big payoffs. So the 3 Cloud Rider is going to be very, very good against aggro. It's essentially just a removal spell. It's kind of like Greedo in the sense that later in the game it's a way for us to get in for 3 damage to close the game out quicker, alongside Avenger and Snoke. Also later in the game, both Greedo and Cloud Rider, because of Snoke's ability, become even more effective at removing things on the ground. Then we have 3 Power of the Dark Side. It's great removal early on. In this particular deck, because of the Frozen and Carbonite and the Entrenched, it's not. I usually want to try to use it first, because they're obviously just going to pick the unit that has that upgrade on it as the target if the board is wide. So what I find is that early on I use Power of the Dark Side if I can, but mid game, like it's usually a card that I'm resourcing, because if they have more than 1 unit, like it's not going to be effective, and they're just going to choose the unit that's got the upgrade. So it's going to be basically just a waste of 3 resources. So that's something to keep in mind, is you want to play that first before you play the Frozen and Carbonite and the Entrenched when you're playing this deck. 2 Client is additional life gain. Because we have Frozen Carbonite and Entrenched, I think 2 copies is fine, because those cards really do work. Frozen Carbonite is just an incredible card. So we do have, we're able to kind of sometimes get a board out there with like 3 or 4 units that aren't able to do anything. That happens pretty often. So client can do a good job of just like picking off the weakest one and benefiting off of like a vigilance removal to gain like 10 life. That happens pretty often to kind of swing our life total back into a safe zone, I would call it. We talked about the frozen carbonite a lot. 3 vigilance, of course, it's great in here. It does cost 6. So you have to keep that in mind because Rivals Fall and Vigilance are going to be 2 6 cost removals. Milling is a potential win con, not one that typically happens, but it does occasionally happen. Again, Snoke really does help speed up the wins for these types of decks, but again, you still really want to make sure you win game 1 because some of these games will go to the mill, especially against like a deck like Kira Green, for example, right? Like there's a potential where you guys, that game lasts long enough where both of you are about 10 or less cards. Decks like that are powerful and have similar cards and removal and laser blasts, and that's more of a soft control deck, but in general that's going to come in play, and that's when you're sideboard, you're going to be bringing in restock and your 3 copies of Bounty Hunter's Crew for those type of matchups so that you can continuously get your restocks and keep milling them out as a potential win con at a certain point. The 3 takedown and the 3 Rivals Fall, I think right now for blue removal decks, that's what you need to have because of where things are at. Takedowns just great against Sabine and a lot of leaders, especially with Cloud Rider and Greedo in this deck. Greedo is very, very effective at hitting 5 damage in this deck because he has so many events. Like I don't think I've missed one yet. And I've played maybe 10 games with this, 10 to 15 games with this deck now, something like that. But it hasn't missed yet. So 2 Fell the Dragon for obviously for units that play Darksaber, dealing with just like Crate Dragons, Darth Mauls, Poes, Wreckers, all that kind of stuff. 2 feels good when you're playing a blue removal deck. The 3 Syndicate Lackeys are in here, of course, to deal with. Again, it gets stronger with Snoke, but early in the game it's great at just hitting Sabine if we can. So I'm using that as a 5 powered removal. So essentially it's a takedown for 5 is the way I would look at it, but only on the ground. And also it's a good finisher. I really like having it in here. I thought about putting Bossk, but it just makes more sense to have Syndicate Lackey. Bossk does benefit from having a lot of events in here, so that is worth testing more, but the issue is that Bossk is not going to one-shot Sabine. And 5 damage is just kind of that magic number right now. So then of course the 3 Rivals Fall, obviously for leaders and just units that are powered up or just strong big units to go alongside our Fell the Dragons. 3 Laser Blasts. A lot of times because we have so many things entrenched and carbonated, then we have like top targets on those units or enticing rewards. Maybe we played the top target first before we put the carbonite because it just made sense to play the carbonite to slow down the damage output. So Laser Blast can kind of clean up everything and we can get the enticing rewards in the top targets. It's really cool just to blow up the board and get card advantage and gain life. It's really cool. It's what makes what I really like about this deck is just getting advantage while resetting the board state. It's really awesome. You can really sometimes you can have hands of like 10 cards with this deck because of enticing reward and Dr. Pershing and things like that. Of course, and then we have our 2 closers of the Snoke and the Avenger to kind of close out the game. 3rd copy of Avenger on the side. You could put a 3rd copy of Snoke on the side. If I were to take that out, I guess I would take out the Confiscate, but that's kind of why it's Confiscate right now, just because I feel like that's so relevant right now with how many Dark Sabers you're going to run into. Whereas Snoke is an 8 cost unit. It's great. It's an amazing card. It's just 8 cost. Avenger is just, the reason I have 3 is just, it's just really great after a board wipe. And I just think it's the ultimate closer. So, The other rest of the cards in the sideboard, of course, so the 1 restock with the 3 Bounty Hunter crew to get the restock back over and over again, to get the Vigilance back to mill out our opponent is a win con. Third copy of Bazine that we're bringing in against mid-range and control decks. Second Confiscate versus aggro. To make an opening is going to be versus lurking TIE Phantom decks as well as aggro. Evacuate is a card I probably would bring in against decks that go like really wide. It's just like a way to slow them down for a turn until we get to a board wipe. It could also be just a good card against aggro in general. But this deck is a lot of fun. As far as like comparing it to Iden, you know, they both have their advantages. So when you're comparing this deck to the Iden Blue deck, which is another very strong control deck, you know, the biggest differences I would say for this version, of course, are just going to be ambush units instead of sentinels, and then the enticing reward is just really nice to find the cards that you're looking for. That is a really awesome card. And then the Frozen and Carbonite is just another great way of slowing down a powerful unit, so that, or just stopping it in its tracks, so that you don't have to deal with it for a pretty reasonable cost at 3 cost. The Iden Blue list, of course, you know, one of the benefits, of course, is Chilson. Like, Chilson's amazing. You know, you're really getting a lot of value out of Chilson. They still have to have an answer for it. If they don't, then it can usually just kill units. And you know, having a Sentinel on board that stays alive allows you time for your hand to grow. It protects the other units on the board, of course, and then a unit like Chilson can just really just win you the game. And I'd say that's what's different between these two lists. Is like, you have to use ambush units to kill things. You don't have any Sentinels, and so, you know, that can be your downside, because you can ambush in with a Syndicate Lackey and hit for 5 damage, but that might not still kill the unit, and they could still swing in with a Poe for 8 damage, and then you're just like, what do I do if you don't have a direct answer in your hand? So, you know, they both have their advantages. For me, I'd still lean towards the Iden Blue deck right now, just because it fits my playstyle more. I like having the Sentinels. I like having Chilson. I like being able to play double blue aspect and playing Vigilance at 4 costs. It just feels like it keeps you in the game better, and you're still playing like the 3 client, the 3 top target. You know, they're playing to make an opening, so you have a lot of ways to gain life. Plus, you're gaining life with Iden, and I think like just gaining life is really important with this deck, with the control deck right now, because sorry, your weakness is going wide, like decks that go wide, and being able to gain 4, 5, and 6 life with top target client and Vigilance for very reasonable costs, and then that subtle life gain with Iden can keep you in the game while you stabilize and close the game out. A deck that recently has gotten a lot more attention is the Han, let's call it Han Swarm, where basically they just swarm the board and use Han's ability to cheat units in and just go as wide as possible and just put so much pressure on you. And, you know, a couple of the units have grit, and they're just, you know, they're also playing like the really strong aggressive units like Poe and Wrecker. They're still playing ECL. So it's a very, another form of Sabine, I would say, and it potentially could be even better as it develops. But that's another deck that you're going to have to deal with, and it's, you know, those decks are hard for this deck. So I think Sabine, I think we have a good grasp on it with this particular version. This version, I want to say, as I played it more, I got a better grasp and how to play it, because it is kind of a little trickier. But this deck has a good matchup against. It's just you don't have that subtle life gain, and then Vigilance is 6 cost, and those two differences, you know, that can make a big impact in the game. So that's why I would lean towards Iden Blue right now if I was going to play a control deck. The Swarm deck, I mean, I don't think this deck has the answers for it, because you don't have the Sentinels. I just think that would be a bad matchup for this deck. I feel like I played it either in one of the games, or maybe the game didn't make the cut. I feel like I did play against that deck, and it was really hard. And if I did beat it, it was close. So this deck, I think, because you have Sentinels, it gives you, like I said, that's a way to remove a unit or trade a unit, if Chilson's able to stay alive, especially against a deck like that has a lot of cheap units, then Chilson can take a couple of hits, and if you put an Entrenched on it, can take more than a couple hits, and that allows you time to get the removal in your hand and slow things down. And the Sentinels also protect your units while you're putting pressure on them, because I would imagine one of the ways that you beat a deck like that, the Han Swarm deck, is that you're putting pressure on their base, and they don't have healing really in that deck. If they do, it's like maybe a Sundari Peacekeeper or something. They're not playing like a lot of healing, so your way of winning is going to be to block, remove big threats, and gain subtle life, you know, and then put pressure on them. Avenger is definitely going to be your closer in that game, but you know, it's a tough matchup either way. You could also play a version of this deck that actually has Chilson in it, so you would just cut Syndicate Lackey and Cloud Rider just to get more blue cards in the deck, and then just put the Pike into Chilson. You could even trim it down a little bit more, but I mean, I think at that point you're at, what, 39 blue cards? So, in the main board. So, I mean, Chilson's going to be a 5/5 a lot of the time, and then we have like things like Dr. Pershing and Enticing Reward to help fill your hand with blue cards. So you know, you can still pump it up to where you get Chilson to be a 6/6 fairly often, because of the card draw from those two cards especially. But I think this version is fine too. It's just a kind of a different approach. You're not using Cloud Rider on turn 1 to ambush in and, you know, put in a Greedo or a top target and things like that with Boba's ability. But Pike still does a decent job, and then, you know, Chilson's a lot stronger. And what I like about using Chilson in here in this particular version is that you can start using Chilson to close out the game a lot quicker. Whereas I feel like, you know, it survives a little bit better unless they have like the Darksaber right on the same turn. You know, most of the time it's going to survive, where you can put in a little bit of damage, put them under a little bit of pressure. It also comes out as the same turn as Sabine versus Lackey coming out a turn later. So, you know, those are a couple of reasons. And like a 6/6 Chilson is a force, and like that's putting 6 damage on the board to your opponent too. And I think that's one of the things we don't talk about with Chilson enough. It's still a 6/6 sometimes on your 3rd turn. That's the strongest card in the game for 4 resources. And I think, you know, that's another reason why I like it in blue, with Pershing pumping it up to 6/6 a lot. But even in this build, I think you can get it there. It's just not going to happen as often. But even a 5/5 at 4 resources is still really strong. So you know, make sure you always attack him with it first, of course. But yeah, I think this version is, you know, a little different. But if you like the Chilson style, this is probably how it would go. Just some minor tweaks, and then if you felt like it needed a little bit more blue, then maybe cut a few more things. But that would take more testing to figure out what. But as always, please like and subscribe. We are close to 2,200, so we're about 300 subscribers away from the 2,500 subscriber giveaway. I greatly appreciate all the love and support. I will be giving away a Poe, a copy of Aggression, 3 red 3s, and 3 K2SO. So, you know, if you like my channel, please let other people know about it to help the channel grow. It has grown extremely fast since March of this year. About mid-March, I think, is when I really started focusing on this content. So it's definitely grown a lot, and I can't say how much I appreciate all the support you guys have given me and the feedback. But as always, let's get into some games and see how this deck performs. All right, up against Bean Green, what do we got here? Cloud Rider and Bazine, Laser Blast, Travis Fall. It's a solid hand. So one of the things that I've been like, Bazine is great sometimes, and then sometimes it's terrible. Because we're going first, I guess let's keep it. You may discard, so you don't always have to discard it. Okay. Super Laser Blast. We're gonna let the 2 expensive things go, just so we have things to play. Next turn we can go Cloud Rider top target, or we'll see. Try to just slow their pace down. Okay, we'll let go of that so they don't have anything to play turn 1, potentially. Okay. I will happily take that. Entrenched, enticing reward. Entrenched is good. Enticing reward isn't bad, it's just... I think I'd rather have the top target. Cloud Rider's potential removal here. Entrenched is a... Yeah, I think we have to let that go. We're just gonna attack it with Bazine first. So, like in the 2 spot, I mean that particular time Bazine was good, but what I've found in particular, in general, is that I like to have Dr. Pershing here as my turn 1 play, so that I can start gaining card advantage. Okay, we can play a top target on that. It's gonna be hard to kill it though. Okay, we're gonna let go of Avenger here. Yeah, it's not the best card to entrench because it still gives them the benefit. Okay. Just go ahead and ambush in. If he wants us to discard, unfortunately, we're going to have to let go of the Laser Blast. Okay, he went for the damage, which is fine. Sabine flips. Okay. We pass. Play top target and play takedown. Okay. He attacks in, we play takedown and gain 6 damage from the 4 that we take, so we'll be back down to 7. Okay, another top target. Again, as much as I like the enticing reward, top target is more important in this matchup. We're gonna go ahead and just take down because we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where they get a Dark Saber. Okay, we'll go ahead and flip Boba here. Okay, 4 cause isn't the worst thing ever. We can put a little pressure on them. I think it's okay to put the top target on the red 3 at this point, because we can just blow up the board and gain life, gain 6 life off of it. So, okay, entrenched is good. Rivals Fall is good. I think we're just gonna keep the Rivals Fall though. At this point, we're looking for Avenger Snoke, because it's getting close to our opportunity to start closing things out. Sabine is hard because we have to get rid of those things early, and yeah, and we can't really hold on to them. Like we want to. Confiscate's pretty good, but I'd rather have Syndicate Lackey here. Just as another way to get a unit on board and use as a form of removal. Okay, sure. See what he does. Okay, he went damage. That is fine. Because we're putting them under some pressure, I'm going to keep the Lackey on board. We can always blow up the board to gain that 6 life if they get to like 23, 24 damage. But I'd at least like to get in for 5 more if possible. Okay. Yeah, he's trying to get to that point. He's already used 2 of 4 causes, which is... No, he's used 2 daring raids and 1 4 cause. Okay, so that's important to know. I do really like the Pershing here, but unfortunately that is I guess we don't have to blow up the board this turn. We can use the Vigilance to gain 5 life if we need to. Really like to hold on to that. Let's get in for 5. Okay, he's timelining a Sabine. Okay, it killed us. Okay. Let's play the Pershing, get some card advantage back. Take our 1, I get. Okay, now we definitely need to consider blowing up the board. Still have Vigilance though. I guess the best thing we could find is like top target and a removal. Okay, he's used 2 for causes now. Okay, let's see. He's used Heroic Sacrifice. He's used 2 Dang Raids, 2 Heroic Sacrifices, 2 for causes. Okay. I feel like we can just go ahead and gain 5 life. Just to be safe. Heal and mill our opponent. Then draw a card with Pershing. Okay. Never mind. So that did absolutely nothing. Okay. Well, that stinks, but that's, you know, again, this is what I mean. Like, Sabine is hard because we get put into these situations where we can't play things the way we want to. Okay, down to 14. It's also an annoying card. Claim the Initiative is probably our best bet here. How many of those have we seen now? We've seen 1, 2, no, just the 1, okay. Gunslinger plus that, okay. Bazine's not doing a whole lot for us here. We can put the Enticing Reward. Yeah, we can play all 3 of these cards. We can draw 2 cards with Enticing Reward here. He doesn't, I mean, I doubt he has another Heroic Sacrifice. That would be the worst thing he could have, yeah. Let's get into the Kato, so... Okay, stay at 16. Gain cards. Laser Blast, Takedown for sure. Okay, claim the Initiative. Okay, I think we're just gonna blow up the board here and then hold on to something. Probably the Power of the Dark Side. Worst case is he could have a Wrecker, right? We have Power of the Dark Side though. So how many Wreckers has he played? 2. I haven't seen any pose yet. Because we have power, I'm just going to do it that way. We could take down something if it's not that big. He's at 14 cards. How many Vigilance have we used now? 2. Yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering when that was going to happen. Okay. Frozen Carbonite's solid. Yeah, we can just hold on to all these cards at this point. Yeah, we're just looking for Snoke or Avenger. We can Cloud Rider that for sure. Take down that for sure. Play this. Sorry, what? Why didn't it let us look at their hand? That was weird. Okay, we play takedown. Okay, then we play Bazine for 4. Oh, Dark Saber. Yeah, I mean, it also speeds up the win con. Okay, there's a good card and there's a good card. Okay. See what they do here. Pass. If they play something big, we're going to Frozen Carbonite it. That I'm not that worried about. Get Snoke down first. Now we can also attack him with Bazine to kill that. Play the client, pass. Okay. Pass. We're gonna use client's ability here to get ourselves out of range. We use Snoke. I mean, we just win with Snoke actually because they're at 20 damage, so never mind. I think we got it. The Snoke helped us to get there, but this matchup's tough. It's one of the hardest ones, which makes this deck, you know, yeah, he just quit. So, like I said, like because they're coming at us from so many different angles. They have reach. They have, you know, they can arena dodge us. They have Dark Saber. They just have Sabine's static ability every turn, action ability. It makes it where we can't always play things the way we want to. I mean, I like this version. I like Iden Blue. It's arguable which one you like better. I'd say the weakness here is that you don't have Sentinels, and that does make a difference with like the Iden Blue, like the Chilson and the Pikes, and even like the Black Sun Starfighter, which you could play all those in here, but then you might as well play Iden Blue to get the subtle healing every turn. That's the other thing, is the healing ability. Obviously Boba has like Bazine, it has Frozen Carbonite, Greedo, Enticing Reward. Those are the cards that you know, even Bounty Hunter Crew at a cheaper cost. Those cards are all great, you know, but this deck is just really kind of running the show right now. So, and this doesn't feel like a great matchup against them. It feels very like if they get the Dark Saber and we don't have the takedown on the Sabine or an answer for it right away, then we're just kind of, you know, there's no way we can come back from that. That's kind of how it goes. If they get the Dark Saber on the Sabine, we can't win because we need another turn to play the Rival's Fall, and that's another turn of taking 8 damage, and that's just too much to overcome, and that's really unfortunate. We play the Confiscate in here to hopefully have an answer for it if we don't have the takedown in hand, but it's just alright, up against Sabine Green here, no mulligan. So we're letting go of Avenger and Rival's Fall, I think. Trenched and Carbonite are going to be really good. Okay. Claim the initiative, power the dark side here, I think, is the easy choice. Okay. Cloud Rider's a card, Bazine's a card. Cloud Rider's a way to kill it plus play top target. Do we need both of these? Possibly. I like playing Cloud Rider into the top target. I think this is a better choice. I don't really want to let go of Bazine, but I really don't want to let go of these cards either. So we play Cloud Rider, we kill a thing, then we could play Bazine actually. This is tough, man. So we're gonna be at 4 resources, so we want to try to take like a Dark Saber from their hand. I mean, double Wing Leader is pretty strong, right? See if he tries to get greedy and do the 1 damage here. If he does, then we have an easy choice of power the dark side into entrenched, which he looks like he's doing. Okay. Alright, Rival's Fall is good. We let one of the top targets go. Hold on to Rival's Fall now because it's more relevant as we're 2 turns away from playing it. We flip Sabine, play entrenched. Unless he plays another strong space unit like a red 3. Okay. That's a weird card. Just pass. Wasn't expecting that play. I was expecting more Wing Leader. As our opponent's done. I guess so. Well, good game. Alright, up against Sabine, yellow here. Not a mulligan. Interesting hand. Just 1 Carbonite, 1 Vigilance, just so we have options. We have the initiatives, we can play Greedo into power or frozen. They go space, which is highly likely. Okay. We're just gonna attack into that with Greedo. Ooh. Okay, well maybe we can get a double kill. Double kill with the Greedo here. Rival's Fall. That is a ways off. I'll let that go for now. I'd rather have the Vigilance, especially because we already resourced 1. Alright, we're gonna try to get a double kill here. Yes. Nice. Love it when it works out, right? Okay, For a Cause is interesting. So that just allows us to take a turn off here. Yeah, I mean, the best thing that we can hope for next turn is that they flip Sabine before doing anything else, or we draw into a takedown. Cloud Rider Pershing, okay. Interesting, I want both of those. I do not want to let go of a second Carbonite or a second Vigilance, so we're just gonna pass, see what they do. Okay, just pass again. Again, if they don't flip Sabine while we're passing, that's absolutely a win for us. Okay, yeah, that's a win. Okay, now we can play Cloud Rider or Pershing depending on what they do. Okay, they fade second for a cause. That's a good sign. We're going to play Pershing here and start having the ability to gain card advantage. Pershing also gives us an action ability when Sabine isn't doing anything. I'm going to let Bazine go here. I found against aggro, like, Bazine, well, we have a Pershing, okay. Sometimes Bazine is, like, really bad. I'm gonna draw a card. Okay, Rebels Fall's solid. See if they play anything else that's worthwhile. Okay, they're just delaying. So, I mean, we can use Boba to kill our boy. Play Bazine. Oops, I totally did that wrong, but it's fine. We're not doing anything any different anyways. You're just gonna go wide. Okay, I'd say we're in good shape. Yeah, I like our hand here. And they could have Wrecker. Keeping the power because we can play Frozen into. We can also draw a card here and gain a life, which I like doing. Yeah, our opponent's done. So yeah, I mean, in that particular case, things went ideal. We were swinging. We're not swinging for that much. We're only swinging for 8, but we're one step closer to Snoke. We have card advantage. We're just kind of in a place where things are really tough for our opponents. All right, up against Han Green. No mulligan. Like our hand. Let go of the long pike and 1 takedown, I think. Play Bazine. See what they got going on over there that we can mess with. So they play Maz Kanata into one of these things and try to buff it up. Okay, so we'll just take that. That's the best card to take. And just claim the initiative. We're gonna play Power of the Dark Side first. I think Long Pikes are gonna be cards that we get later. Yeah, Frozen Carbonite is better to play after we've played our Power of the Dark Sides, since they will just choose the unit that has the Frozen Carbonite on it. Alrighty. Yep, he cheats in 1, that's fine. Okay. So we... I like the Rival's Fall. I think it's going to be really important in this matchup. So we're going to use Bazine to kill Sabine. And then we're going to play a card. Depending on what our opponent does, okay. Just play Takedown. Power of the Dark Side's still going to be useful against like a Crate Dragon later on too, so we might hold on to that. Okay, I'm not too worried about a Clone Deserter. Okay, this is definitely the Han goes wide deck, so this is definitely not a great matchup. So we can play Cloud Rider plus Carbonite this turn. So we'll let go of Fell. What's more? I want to draw a card, yeah. Let's see what our opponent does here. Okay, Admiral Akbar. Interesting. Could play Frozen and Carbonite the Heroic Resolve. Doesn't seem bad. I'm not Heroic Renegade, not Heroic Resolve. Okay. He's attacking there, okay. So we'll go here. Okay. It's an interesting card to play in there. Yeah, I mean, Power of the Dark Side's not going to be that effective at the moment. Because they go wide. So it's really only useful like after a board wipe. Yeah, because this is the wide version, I don't think that's a card I want. We can use Syndicate Lackey here to damage the Han and then kill it with Boba. Okay, Heroic Sacrifice. Very interesting. I am actually... So you've already resourced one, used another. So Power of the Dark Side is kind of not really a card we even care about at this point. Like I was considering, like, should I just attack into this? But no, I've already... The chances that we find the third one are very small, and we already kind of resourced it anyway, so we can use Syndicate Lackey to kill that. Yeah, we're taking a lot of damage here. I mean, the wide version is tough. This is not a good matchup at all. There's the Laser Blast, so that's good. So we're just gonna go here, kill that. Gain some life. See what they do here. It's 7 resources. They could play something. I want to say Fell the Dragon and Rebels Fall for like Reinforcement Walker. Okay, Clone Deserter is actually a good target to kill right now to gain resources and draw a card. Can play the top target on something unique, so we can gain 6 life when we blow up the board, potentially. I don't know if they play Reinforcement Walker in this version, though, and they're just kind of playing a bunch of cheap units. We do really need to start pushing damage. I mean, that's a good card, yeah, to target. Okay, just claim the initiative. Takedown would be a good card to find. How many cast-ins have they used now? 1. Okay. I'm just gonna hold on. Entrenched is not great. Rebels Fall is a card. I really want to hold on to those two. Alright, let's do it like this. We're gonna Rivals Fall this thing. Gain 6 life. Attack in and hold up Fell the Dragon. Or Enticing Reward. Okay, he's ECLing that. Yeah, I mean, that's not great. But good thing is... yeah, he can attack us for a lot. We don't want to take 8 damage right now. Just claim the initiative. I think now's a good time to blow up the board unless we Fell the Dragon. Okay, yeah. That's a good card. It's a good find. But at 8 resources, just needing to blow up the board, I think I'm just going to pass. I'm going to resource one of these cards next turn, depending on whatever, to get Avenger down and start closing this game out. You can play Enticing Reward on one of their units. See what they do. It's a weird card. Haven't seen that card played yet, actually. Okay, double Avenger's pretty good. So is Syndicate Lackey into that to get another unit on board. I want to keep the... I don't know. How could they even deal with the second Avenger? Like, or the Avenger, how can they deal with it? I'm trying to think. They might have, like, a big space unit. Yeah, and it's my win con, so I don't want to, like, get rid of it completely. And if they choose to let the Freetown go, that's great. So we just draw a card. Okay. Top target or entrenched? Both are good. We'll get to choose them both. So let's just take them both and then get rid of... what? Putting the entrenched on the ground is okay. Have they shown us anything with more than 5 power? Well, Guerrilla Attack Pod, yeah. This is tough. Okay, we're gonna play a top target on something else to continue to gain life. How many top targets have we used now? Just one? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, he's shooting out a attack pod for 6. That's nice. Syndicate Lackey can remove that. Fell the Dragon can remove that. I think we just want as much removal as possible, so Cloud Rider is a form of removal. He's gonna swing in for 5 with that thing. That's fine. We'll get that life. We'll get 4 of that life back. Can't take 6 though. Okay, we take our 5. Go face, gain 4. Can play either Cloud Rider or Fell the Dragon here, depending on what he does. I'm okay with keeping this on board. Okay, well, that's wonderful. Not too worried about taking 1 damage from either of these things, okay. Okay, we're just gonna claim the initiative now. Now it's kind of like a race. Okay, that's definitely a card we need to kill. Laser Blast is also good, so is Vigilance. Can we play anything else? No. Vigilance here kind of puts us in a situation where we can just... Yeah, I like the Vigilance play. Makes the most sense given where we're at. We can blow up the board next turn if we need to, if like they go too wide again. Okay, he gets in for 3. Kills the Sabine, okay. We have Fell the Dragon for a Gorilla Attack Pod. Yeah, that's a thing. So he's gonna swing in for 6 damage this turn. This Fell the Dragon has been really, really bad all game. I mean, we have to claim the initiative. We don't have a choice. We just have to attack in. He's got to find a way to get to 7 more damage. I mean, he's getting in for 3 more for sure. I guess if he has the attack pod, we just lose. It's a close one, man. It's not a good matchup. Alright, well, we were able to come out of it. They didn't have the final cards to get in, so good game. It's a close one though, man. Yeah, decks that go wide are definitely one of our weaknesses, or heavy in space. Alright, up against Bossk Red. I've never played against this deck before. I really like our hand though. Our hand has a lot of things. I think because we can smuggle this back at 5, I'm just gonna resource this. I'm probably gonna play Bazine here. A lot of these cards are really good. This is tough. Tough. I don't want to play too many units either against a deck like this, because I don't want them to get too much card advantage. I'm not even sure what card that I am worried about. You know what I mean? I think we're going to let Rival's Fall go for now, just so we have early answers for things. You know, when you're playing against a deck that you've never played against before, it's always hard because you're not exactly sure what angle, and that's one of the advantages they have, is like they can come at us with different things that we're not used to seeing. So, I mean, it's good to look at their hand. Okay, that's a decent card against us. It doesn't draw them any cards. We have life gain, so I'd rather get rid of the unit, I think. Hopefully we didn't give them a 2 resource unit that they can play this turn, because they didn't have anything. Okay. Okay. I was about to say, I hope I draw into Enticing Reward, but then we drew into another 1-drop, which is also great. It's just... now I gotta figure out what to resource again. I think because we don't want to... I mean... could just go Cloud Rider Greedo here and actually put pressure on them, because they're not doing a ton. Alright, we're gonna let top target go. Enticing Reward's too good. Can get huge card advantage out of that. Okay, there's a card, so that's an easy choice. So we're gonna put Enticing reward on the Bo-Katan. We're going to Cloud Rider in to kill the Bo-Katan. We're going to draw 2 cards, and then we're going to play Greedo. We're saving the Frozen and Carbonite for something bigger. Alright, we're going to get Vigilance. Boba's armor's not bad. I like having an early removal. Boba's armor seems pretty strong here. Okay, let's get Greedo. Let's get in for 1. Tobias. I think Tobias is an easy resource again. We can smuggle that back later. I love Tobias and Long Pike in this deck. It just makes so much sense, and they're so good in here. We don't need 2 Boba Fett's armors actually, so that'll be an easy resource next turn. We're just gonna power the dark side. Okay. Alrighty. We could put one of these on there actually. Does make this a 3/5, I think, is actually pretty relevant. I should have done that first, but that's okay. Whoopsie. First time playing the deck. Gonna make mistakes sometimes. Probably gonna hold off on the Carbonite still. I think we're gonna use Takedown here. Probably let go of Greedo. Force Choke. Okay. I like drawing cards. Get in for 3. Great thing about Boba Fett's armor on Boba is that Force Choke would only do 3 damage to it, which is crazy good. Still gonna try to use Takedown here if they play a unit. We could also play. I mean, he does flip Bossk. Okay. Syndicate Lackey hit him for 5. That doesn't do enough. Takedown doesn't do enough. He only has 3 resources, so I'm trying to think what he could do here. What is our best play? I guess. Yeah, just hit him for 5. Try to delay flipping Boba in case he has some kind of removal. Okay. Well, we'll send it out. Either take our 4 or just see what he does. See what he does. Okay. Take 4 from Bossk, put the Boba Fett's armor on. Seems fine. Okay. All of those are good cards. Alright, we're definitely using Greedo here. He's gonna do 2 damage to Boba if he attacks with that. If he goes face, then we're just gonna kill it with Greedo. I don't know. It might not. It might just go their face, because putting 9 damage on their base this turn is pretty strong. trying to think what's the best thing to keep here. I mean, between Rivals Fall and Vigilance, I think we're gonna let go of Rivals Fall. Vigilance at least gives us the ability to swing our life total. Takedown's a cheaper removal. A lot of their units are cheap, so we already let go when Rivals Fall, yeah. But we have Frozen Carbonite, so that's my thinking. It's cheaper and it prevents them from attacking. So see what he does. Okay. Okay. Definitely just going face. If he goes space, it's easy. We go Frozen Carbonite. Okay. I mean, he can Tarkin Town or Boba. Okay, we can just Vigilance here, I think. Okay, I'm surprised he didn't Tarkin Town. I'm gonna let Tobias go again. Yep, good game. Yeah, felt pretty dominant. Deck's good. Alright, up against Inquisitor Red. Never played against this deck before. This is not a great hand. We don't have any early interaction, we just have a Greedo. I mean, if we let this hand go, what are we letting go of? Snoke plus... We let go Tobias and Rivals Fall? I guess. Let's try it. Oh, oops, I just mulliganed. So never mind. Never mind. Whatever I just said, forget it. Cloud Rider, Greedo is not bad here. Bazine's not bad. Yeah, let's play Bazine. They are gonna probably ready a unit, but if we can steal one of the units that they were trying to play, then that's good for us with Bazine. So just to kind of tempo them a little bit. Because they just want to attack every turn. Well, that's definitely a card. I really don't like the Aggression. That's a good card against us, and we don't have any other way of interacting with their hand, so he can play Daring Raid Death Stormtrooper, that's fine. We can kill that Death Stormtrooper with Bazine. He could draw into something here that he could damage and attack immediately, though. It's possible. Otherwise, he's just going to Daring Raid, play Stormtrooper. Okay. Cool. I mean, I'll take that all day. Ooh. Okay. Probably Bounty Hunter's Crew. Hold on to the Rivals Fall for the Inquisitor turn. So we can use Cloud Rider, kill that, and then the difference is, though, I can kill it with Bazine. That's the issue. Like Cloud Rider, I want to kill something that has 3 HP, and then squeeze in like a Greedo or an Enticing Reward. Yeah, so what we're going to do is play Greedo. We're going to let him think that we don't have an answer, then we're going to Cloud Rider. Yep. Nice. Alrighty. Okay, I want to hold on to the Snoke. I kind of do. It is a win con. But we could also use Greedo to kill something and then play another Greedo, so. Okay. Does 2 damage to our base for an event, but that is not an event. This will get to draw 2 cards here, which is disgusting if they activate it. Did not activate it. So hopefully we get the 2 damage, which we did. We'll take another enticing reward or 2 removal. I think 2 removal is good. Play Greedo, pass. Laser Bass is pretty good here too. So what are we doing this turn at 5 resources? We could play Power of the Dark Side top target. They have Kirsantan we know of from before, unless they resourced it. Rival's Fall is going to be important. I don't want to let go of Laser Blast. They've only put 2 damage on our face. We have the Vigilance, so let's just play Power of the Dark Side this turn. We have Boba this turn too, which is nice. Depending on what they do here, we'll see. I'm going to use my units. Oh, so he just passed, okay. That's totally fine. We use one of our units to kill and then the other one for Power of the Dark Side on anything they play. And we'll start putting pressure on their base as well as an option. Okay, so that's an easy just Power of the Dark Side play because we don't even want to mess with that card. Because it's a big body. I'm just going to put pressure on their face. Get in for 7, pass. We have Rival's Fall, Snoke, okay. I think at this point, I'd probably prefer to have Snoke over Laser Blast because we are in the lead. Do we need the top target? I don't think we even need this. It is a good insurance policy, but we have Vigilance still, so again, I think I'm gonna let go of top target again because I want to have a Laser Blast just in case. Obviously, if we find a second Laser Blast, we're just gonna resource it, but I don't want to make the mistake of resourcing that card when we're so close to being able to use it in case our opponent has a way of... That was an interesting choice there. Okay, that's why. Drawing a card is nice. I mean, we're just putting pressure on him now. Just gonna Rival's Fall the Inquisitor. You passed. Okay. Oh, I'll just pass back to you, dude. Yep. You can have the initiative on that. Okay, so there's the second Laser Blast that we don't need, that I was talking about. Yeah, he's getting into defensive mode now because our control deck is kind of being the aggressor at this point. Squeezing in the Greedo and the Boba flip was strong. We're almost at Snoke, which is going to be pretty devastating. He's already used 2 Daring Raids. He probably has more force chokes, but I don't think he wants to use a force choke on a Greedo. Okay. We have Cloud Rider, Rival's Fall here, or even Vigilance. He wants to get the Inquisitor out, but I don't think I'm too worried about the Inquisitor at this point. I could fell the dragon, the Saw Gerrera here too. Okay. Interesting. So fell the dragon, Cloud Rider. take 2 damage, play Rival's Fall next turn. Okay with that. He's gonna have to kill our Greedo. Okay. The other option is just play Cloud Rider and keep pushing pressure on him. He's gonna activate that. Yeah, I'll just kill the Bo-Katan. So he doesn't get any benefit off the Inquisitor. Claim the initiative, and we play Rival's Fall. Okay, well, at this point I'm going to attack him with Greedo, and then decide. At 8 resources we can play Takedown. Getting a 5/4 is pretty good. Rival's Fall is a card. Takedown. Snoke is really strong. I'm just kind of thinking that I want to play Snoke here, especially because we're in the driver's seat. Snoke also activates Vigilance and Takedown the following turn. I mean, at a certain point too, he's gotta like consider slowing us down with Greedo. Greedo's just doing work. Snoke also really messes up his ability to damage units. Yeah, Inquisitor with a Fallen Lightsaber is probably the worst thing he could have, because then it would kill everything on our board. It's possible it could happen. He hasn't played one yet. If he does, then there's then there's the consideration of just blowing the board up next turn. I'd say overall, though, we're in pretty good shape, because if he doesn't have a way to do that, then we just claim the initiative and win with Snoke. So he has to attack into Snoke at this point. If he, okay, there's a card. Yep. So he doesn't have the Fallen Lightsaber. He can activate Boba. Okay, target. Yeah, so he can kill Snoke. That's fine. He activates. He kills Snoke with Inquisitor? No. Interesting. That was weird. Wasn't expecting that. Do we need 2 Vigilance? Possibly. Rival's Fall is a card. I mean, we're definitely swinging with Greedo to get them down. We don't have any units on board. Do we need 2 takedowns? Probably not. But then again, we could play 2 in a turn. Just Rival's Fall as Inquisitor here. Okay, I'm going to let go of one of the takedowns. Attack him with Greedo. We can use a takedown on the Inquisitor if he attacks into our Inquisitor with the bounty. Guild Initiate. He's got to kill it, so he's going to use that to kill it. If he does that and trades, then we'll just get a Rival's Fall. Potentially use a takedown, though, if we're able to get the damage on it. I'm trying to think what's in our discard. How many have we resourced an Avenger? Yeah, 1 Avenger, 1 Snoke. Okay, so we only have 1 Avenger left to find that last 2 damage. He's going face. Interesting. It's very interesting that he chose to do that. I think that was a mistake. I mean, he can activate a unit, but not with Inquisitor out. Okay, he's using aggression. Okay, so he can reactivate that. Yeah, I mean, Aggression's an amazing card. Okay. I'm just going to pass. If he attacks into our Greedo, which he kind of has to, then we just take down the Inquisitor. Or just take down that. Yeah. He has to kill Greedo. He claimed the initiative. Okay. He hasn't played any space units yet, has he? He's not shown us anything in space. I'm just going to hold all these cards, though. He's got to kill Greedo. So we could play Takedown, Frozen, and Carbonite this turn. Or even... Well, that's a card I don't want to deal with. So after the, changing some things around and putting those 3 Dr. Pershing main board, I think Dr. Pershing is just so good in these decks. It really, again, just helped take this deck over the top, I think, in finding what you're looking for alongside Enticing Reward. And really just kind of helping this deck play more consistently to find what it's looking for to deal with the specific matchup. Dr. Pershing is just, I almost want to say it's like the MVP, because it's just drawing those extra cards and just getting that big hand size to allow me to make decisions with more options in my hand is just really impactful. It also just helps you to, your weakness of dealing with like decks like Pillage, so which is definitely one of these decks' weaknesses as well. So, but overall, I thought the Frozen Carbonite was amazing, and having 3 copies of Entrenched and Carbonite was really powerful. The Enticing Reward was awesome. I felt like this deck played strong. I think it's a very good deck, and I think it, between this and Iden Blue, again, I think it comes down to your player preference. For me, it's, I'm choosing Iden Blue, I think, because of like the things I talked about the Vigilance costing 4 and having the Sentinels, just because that fits my playstyle more. But I could totally see this deck doing well with the right player and the right adaptations to where the meta is at. I definitely think another weakness for this deck, of course, is the decks that go wide, and just extremely aggressive decks like Kylo Red and the Han Swarm deck and Moff Tarkin Yellow. But I still think they're winnable. I think that they are very difficult, and you really have to play test them a lot to get into the swing of things and to be able to master that matchup. But hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay and the video, and as always, y'all have a good one, and peace out.